Hi, I'm Bill Carey with the Tech Innovation Center at the Kansas Small Business Development Center. We work with companies with innovative products, not necessarily just high tech. Our services are actually prepaid by your tax dollars at work. We provide, in general, at the SBDC, we provide general assistance that can include all kinds of business and advising, writing business plans, financial analysis, loan prep, exit planning, and other things. But the Tech Innovation Center specifically focuses on opening up potential funding opportunities and finding the right connections with government contracting. We support an ongoing assistance with Kansas SBDC clients throughout the year. Things like pairing companies with relevant small business innovation research solicitations. And we also support a number of events during the year that introduce companies to Tech Scouts. Let me just talk a little bit about what a Tech Scout actually is. Particularly for our Encountering Innovation conference that we do ourselves, we focus on presenting to the technology scouts that are working for the combatant commands within the Department of Defense. These are actually 11 different commands where the world is divided up into 6 distinct pieces. And each one of those areas, geographical areas, are represented by a combatant command. And then there are 5 global areas, such as Transcom or Cyber, that cover the entire globe. And each one of those combatant commands, or COCOMs, has Tech Scouts associated with looking for needs to solutions to the problems that they face. For Encountering Innovation, some of the combatant command Tech Scouts are going to be your primary audience, along with others from Homeland Security or other organizations within the government. For other conferences that we help with, it may be the COCOM Tech Scouts or some other personnel that are also searching for technologies, but really they have the same focus as the Department of Defense Tech Scouts. So I'm going to just refer to the audience generally as Tech Scouts. So what is a Tech Scout? Well, you can think of a Tech Scout as actually like a gold prospector that's sifting through a pile of technologies, looking for nuggets that he or she is going to pass on to the respective places for processing. They're very focused on what a technology does, or why it's unique. How might it fit a need? And does it replace something the warfighter is already carrying or add capability? At this point, the company is really not very important to them, except that it's an existing company or a structure, some structure that will support that technology to be developed. If the technology doesn't fit in, really doesn't matter how good the company is or how far along they are. So how do we provide support? The Tech Scouts need at least some or maybe all of the following items. So we're going to go through these. We need a quad chart, a bottom line up front, or called a bluff, the information paper, a pitch deck, and then the associated pitch, hearing that. Also a poster board, if we're having a poster board session, and then a point of contacts document. So let's go through what these are individually. First, the quad chart. Now, this is the place to actually start. This gives a concise summary of your capabilities, and it emphasizes how this technology will help the warfighter. This is not about how it helps your company or even necessarily all the commercial things it does, so you can mention that. The emphasis is on the warfighter and getting their work accomplished, bringing them home, helping them to do their job more efficiently, saving money. It really focuses on what technology your technology does to solve a customer's need. This is really important. It does not focus on how. That's actually your intellectual property, and you really need to protect that. And also, how does it stand out from its competitors? You don't want to just be, we also make a technology that does this. What you want to be able to say is, we make a technology that does this in addition to that, or we do something in a unique way that provides a capability you don't yet have, or it may be smaller, or be able to be more portable, or some aspect that makes it unique. So after you've worked on the quad chart, the next thing would be the bottom line up front, or what we call the bluff statement, B-L-U-F. This is actually really important. This is a public statement, a short summary for the tech scouts. And it's really exposure, their first exposure, and even pre-conference, they will tend to read these bluffs to find out what they're interested in. So it's something that can be advertised, and it should be 100 words or less. So short, to the point. It's like an elevator pitch. And it helps us draw the right audience for you. And remember, it focuses on what your technology does to solve customer needs, not on how. Then the information paper. This explains your technology and uses being able to use a little more detail and graphics to accomplish it. The quad chart is only a one-page chart, so you really have to stop and think about how you're going to, what are the most important things you're going to communicate. You can't put everything on it, and that's the point of a quad chart. It makes you distill down the most important pieces. The information paper gives you a little bit more room to put in a few graphics, add a few more details. But remember, it's only 3 pages long, and that is at the requirements of some of the tech scouts. The reason why is they want it to be short enough so that they can forward it to people that will actually read it. And I've had people send me 10-page documents before and say, well, can't I just use this for my information paper? And it's, no, you can't. We will reject it, because the tech scouts will say, why did you send this to us? They expect it to be short and concise, to the point. It actually incorporates your bluff statement right at the beginning of it. And then it follows basically kind of follows the flow chart, the flow of the quad chart. That bluff statement is really important. And I would say, as you're working on the bluff statement, that's why I would suggest to do that actually second, because it helps you focus on the quad chart, thinking through what you want to say. Then when you fine tune the most important things, then you will say that in a bluff statement. And then when you get to your information paper, you already have your bluff statement. You've already decided what's most important to say. And then you have a little bit of time to flesh out a little more and add some pictures in your information paper. Then the fourth document that I would have you work on is the pitch deck, and then ultimately the pitch. This is your opportunity to actually explain it in person about your technology. Remember, the quad chart's already laid out what's most important. So you're basically going to follow the flow of what you've already decided is the most important. The pitch deck is actually pretty easy to put together after you already know the essence of what you need to put in it. And then when you do the pitch, then it allows for tech scouts to give questions and ask questions and give feedback, and it helps them decide where they want to socialize this, or who they want to send it to, and in what way they want to send it to, and how they want to communicate it. The one thing to remember about the pitch itself, this is a friendly audience. They're not trying to attack you or sitting there with their arms crossed, just waiting for you to screw up or saying, I dare you to make me interested in this. They're there to learn and to help. And they want to see you succeed as a company, even if it's not a technology that fits their specific need. And then depending upon the event, we may provide practice pitch slots and then give you live feedback of the types of questions we would anticipate that a tech scout would ask. So for the Encountering Innovation, we do that. And for some of the other events, we also support that as well. And then the last thing, the last document would be a point of contact document. This is actually a summary of the people and places that you've already worked with or you've been communicating with, or that maybe you've had closed doors with and you're trying to get in, but you've already done a little legwork and maybe it's not working. This would include SBIR information, proposals you've submitted or been awarded, who the technical points of contact are within those organizations, any contracts or leads that you have had, or potential opportunities that you've been pursuing, or people that are interested already. This actually helps the tech scouts decide where to socialize and where to open doors for you and how they may be able to do that. So that helps them keep from retreading the same ground that you've already been over and look for innovative ways to get you in different places. So when you decide you want to be a part of this, you fill out an application, and this is going to have a number of questions in it. You may think it's a little bit long, but there's a reason for this. The application actually allows us to generate a first draft of each one of those documents that I've just talked about. So then you can sit down and when you get the format, you also get your personalized company technology information embedded in that document, and you can very quickly see how you should edit that and clean it up so that it's ready for the tech scouts. So before the conference, expect to be editing these documents based on assistance from a designated tech coach. That's normally the case. We have somebody that will work with you, or the sponsoring organization, whoever we're helping, will have somebody to work with you, answer questions, and give you feedback so that you can get the documents ready. Then during your presentation, there'll be people taking notes for you to document the feedback from the tech scouts. That's really important because whoever is presenting maybe feel kind of overwhelmed, and you'll miss things if you don't have somebody taking notes there for you. And so these notes will actually outline your next steps, whatever they may be. Maybe contacting some organization or trying to get some kind of data that would validate something so that it would be easier to push this technology forward. You may want to have somebody else from your company actually there taking notes as well. You might also have a person there to answer technical questions. But one thing that they want to see is normally they want to see one person being the spokesperson for the company, and then some technical person that may answer questions. But they don't want to see 2 or 3 people up there all trying to do a community presentation and fighting over who gets microphone time. That they really frown on that. And then whoever is your tech coach may very well be also observing to provide their feedback as well. Then after the conference, expect that you're going to have suggestions for final editing on these documents based on Tech Scout feedback. Many times you're asked to change some wording or highlight a point that you talked about in your pitch, or maybe come up in the Q&A. They want to flesh that out a little bit so that it stands out, and they can point out a specific area. You might actually ask you to fill out a second set of documents to split that technology out further, or to generate something for a specific need that targets a specific a specific person that they know of, that helps them do specific sending specific technologies being socialized to the right people. So if they ask you to do something like that, that's actually a good thing, because that means that they're interacting and they're thinking in their mind who they're going to be sending it to. So don't be offended if they ask you to do more work during your presentation. Then the final versions of all of those documents we put on file here at SBDC or the sponsoring organization for the conference, so that the Tech Scouts can ask for information quickly. If it's not sent quickly, if they say, hey, I would like information from XYZ company, and if it's not sent quickly, you may miss your window, because many of these Tech Scouts are traveling all over the place and they see thousands of technologies over the course of a year. And if they're already on to the next conference and the next thing, they've blocked out some time to do follow-up on this conference, but then they're off to the next thing. And if you miss that window because your documents aren't ready, it's hard for the Tech Scouts to come back to that. And sometimes they say, we just can't get back to them. So we want to have what they think what we think they're going to need. We want to have it ready so that if they do request it, that we can send it out to them very quickly. And if you're socialized, meaning normally that would be it could be a phone call, but normally it would be an email introduction. You may be referred to a few places or many. I've seen some referred to 30 or 40 different places. So be ready for that. Not all companies actually get socialized directly though. But one thing I will say is that the Tech Scouts try really hard to provide you helpful suggestions and potential next steps to move your technology forward, even if they don't end up socializing it within their organizations. I've seen very, very few companies present that there weren't some really good suggestions after their presentations. So allow time for your follow-up on tasks that come up from the presentation. There's going to be really two types of things. One is immediate tasks. If they say, hey, I want this, I would like you to send a package of documents. We want to see that for this specific application. Immediately, we want to start getting that ready, because we know if they've requested it, they are already thinking about who they're going to socialize it to. So that's a pretty good estimate that it's going to go somewhere. So we call that package a KIP B POC, quad chart, information paper, pitch deck, and a bluff, and the point of contact list. A lot of times they don't really ask that much for a poster board, but we do try really hard to get poster boards ready and help people get ready and have a layout, a template layout even for that, so that people are ready and when the Tech Scouts walk through a poster session, they can see uniformity. So if they have a question they want to ask or thoughts they want answered, or they can very quickly see on the poster board where to get that information. So it speeds up their time, makes their time a lot more efficient. And now for just talking about the commitment level. There's really this can take a lot of work from the standpoint of the company. I'm not saying it's bad, it's actually good, because if you could fill out all this stuff really well and edit it fast, that means you probably already know where you're going as a company and you understand the customer. So it takes a period of time and maybe some iteration on documents to say, okay, I think I see what you're saying, what the customer really is looking for here, and how I need to be presenting that technology. So from the point of application, it'll go on all the way until several weeks after your presentation. It will take some time, not saying it will take all your time, but it will take some time. And then remember, if there is follow-on from socialization, that's going to take more time. So think of this is not as a one and done, but it's more like a marathon than a sprint, where we're partnering with you and to be able to come together and get you ready to present this technology to a tech scout who's potentially going to open the door for you to get in with somebody that's going to want more information, and you're going to start connecting with them. But this isn't something where you're going to see a contract or money coming in the next 2 weeks. This can take a process. It could be 6 months to a year or more before anything comes in over that, for that period of time, or maybe longer. Or maybe you don't actually end up under contract, but you get a lot of feedback and direction out of it that you didn't have before. So be ready for this to take some time. And honestly, if somebody wants to just throw together a presentation and doesn't want to give them more effort than that, or doesn't have time to give more effort than that, and you really need to think about the commitment level that you're going to have to put into this to make it happen. We're going to be presenting a series of training events here, training videos, to help each one of these documents become more clear to you. And then one final video is going to cover the expectations that are mutually expected from all the parties involved. That would include us or the sponsoring the event sponsor, and the tech scouts and the company. We all have certain expectations, what we need done, and we're going to talk about that at the end. So thank you very much, and I look forward to presenting more in a few minutes.